A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon deep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
The ASRL Southern Shores Realty Sports Car Championship, live next Wednesday from virtual Red Bull Ring, only on Turn 200. And now, our feature presentation. Just as iRacing was around this time last year, we are venturing into new territory for the first time in our history. We bring you some iRacing official racing, and it comes to you in the form of our season-long commitment to bring you the Top Split Sunday Strength of Field race for the Mission R Challenge. We're on a quick on here because everybody was a good boy or girl here tonight and have qualified already. The starting grid is already set. We'll give you the specifics of this car and of what we're expecting here tonight as we roll along with tonight's broadcast here on Turn 200 for the Porsche Mission R Challenge. Starting grid will look like this for a 20-minute race. Maxime Grainon will lead the field to green. Olivia Hayward on the outside. Row number 2, Timothy Reed and Ellis Spice. Row number 3, then Marlon Orlando and Matt Johnson. AJ Coley and Callie Bajan on row 4. Jackie Matthews and Duncan Watts on row 5. Ryan Phillips, Tom Sanders on row 6. Mickey Friesen and Georgie Trebzik. Oh boy. And then JJ Wang and Steven Hassett as we are on the move here in Watkins Glen. 16 in the top split, 31 drivers overall getting after it here tonight. And they are all working their way through the S's here. Oh, we're at Watkins Glen, by the way. Matt Williamson here, as always, producing the stream. Rather brief and curt introduction to maybe a potentially a new audience for us here tonight. But these drivers all working their way now into the bus stop. And working around the carousel is Maxime Grenon. Showing the way. Hayward in second, Reed, Spice, and Orlando, your top 5.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, a new venture for us here. Really not a whole lot of experience with this car. So we are learning along with maybe anybody else that is not familiar with the Porsche Mission R Challenge. And one thing you'll notice is they certainly sound different than any other car on iRacing. That's for certain.
Yes, indeed. Cargo E is the good word on the street. As Grenon leading lap number 1. All right, Matt Williamson, we'll continue to watch Olivia Hayward, who finished on the podium here in the Thursday top split strength of field race. They are closing in rapidly on Grenon. See if they can make a move here into the bus stop. Nothing going just yet, but welcome in to some official racing here. We are already a couple of minutes into today's race. Have to stop saying tonight because it's the middle of the afternoon for us. Probably some of our European friends are up a little bit later than they would like to be here on a Sunday night. But the Porsche Mission R, tell us what it's all about here as we watch these drivers scream around one of our favorite tracks, Watkins Glen.
Yeah, well, this car, it's powered by 2 electric motors, actually, one for each axle. And these motors get their power from 2 large batteries, which store 82 kilowatt hours of power, which is really not that much. It does have regenerative braking, which will keep the car going at full song here for this full 20 minutes in the official races, with definitely no problems. In terms of power, with 2 electric motors, this thing produces some very serious horsepower. In quali mode, it produces 1,088 horsepower, which is just absolutely insane. It actually makes it the most powerful car in the sim on iRacing. In race mode, still over 600 horsepower, which is nothing to sneeze at. All that horsepower flies in the face of the insane weight of this car. This car weighs just a little over 3,300 pounds, or 1,500 kilograms. So these massive batteries alone are a third of the weight of the car. The motors create 22,000 RPMs down the straights here at Watkins Glen. And no, I am not misreading that. And we did not mistype this. 22,000 RPMs. Unbelievable.
So we are on lap number 4 then. And this is morning time in the sim, afternoon for us here in the U.S. But what do we got as this race is going to roll along? What are some of the things that we're going to keep our eyes on here?
Yeah, well, these are fixed setups. And actually the setups for this car are not like your normal setups for a car here in iRacing. So there's not much. As we have a pass here attempting for the lead from Olivia, but tried to peek on the outside there. Is going to go through the grass here on the back end of the bus stop. Just gave it a little peek. Wasn't quite able to get there and complete that one, though. These drivers do not need to make a pit stop, as I mentioned. Incident limit, there is one. It's 17x. So that could come into play with some off tracks. The track limits here at Watkins Glen are pretty forgiving, but you could still get 1x's pretty frequently here around Watkins Glen. Track conditions are in the morning, so it should be pretty cool. We'll actually take a look. 82 degrees on the track temperature. And we should have around 17 laps here today with the 20-minute time limit.
You mentioned it. Grenon and Hayward are scrapping away here for the lead. And the one thing about Watkins Glen that makes this particularly interesting is these giant spoilers on the back of the car. They open up a lot of opportunities down long straightaways for passing into big brake zones. They leave a huge wake. That is why we see the bus stop being such a hot commodity here. And wow, the race leader Grenon is off the track. We'll bring it back on. We'll keep the lead. I'm sure a slowdown penalty is in order here for the 4th-ranked driver in this split. Hayward is the 3rd-ranked, and they've got the 1 rank right behind him, Timothy Reed. Ellis Spice and Marlon Orlando, the top 5 are all nose to tail here down the straight.
Yeah, top 5 have broken away. Reed in 3rd nearly looked for a pass there to get to 2nd around Hayward. Just wasn't quite able to do it through the carousel, and here comes Hayward getting this draft.
This is a tricky place to try and get a pass done. Hayward with a peek, but nothing just yet. Lap number 6 on the board.
Let's go ahead and go on board with Marlon Orlando here. Right at the back of this 5-car pack. And then we'll go to Timothy Reed.
Oh!
Trouble
Grenon is around! I don't think there was contact. I think Grenon got upset over the curbs. That's the other thing I was going to mention. There's some sort of like traction control on this car. Not 100% familiar with it, but once you start to slide with the back end of this car, you are going around. It is not a question of if, but when. And the back end of the car came around big time on the 4 there.
Yeah, we had it happen right in front of our in-car camera there with Timothy Reed. And Reed did a good job of slowing down just a bit and maneuvering to the right to avoid any contact. We'll go back and take a look at it here in a minute when we get a chance to.
So it's Olivia Hayward leading, Timothy Reed in second. Now Ellis Spice and Marlon Orlando, they are still pretty close to being in touch with the leaders here, just as the Formula One race this morning. The top four were all nose to tail in the closing laps. They look just about this way right now. Callie Bajent right now in the top five, trying to track these top four down. Matt Johnson, J.J. Wang, Tom Sanders, then Maxime Grenon back in the 9th position, and A.J. Coley rounds out your top 10.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay here. Going into the bus stop for Hayward. Oh, yeah, car gets super upset there, and then through the grass on the second rumble strip on that left-hander through the bus stop. And Hayward may have gotten a piece. It's awfully close, hard to tell. But Hayward had to slow down big time along with Reed to try to stay out of Grenon there.
We've got John Newt hanging out in the chat with us, cheering on J.J. Wang. Says, day race, time for a day drink. Absolutely, indulge. Wherever you are in the world, if you're commenting or not, we appreciate you hanging out with us here for our first ever official broadcast. Things got off to a quick start on and off the track. Here's a pass for third. Marlon Orlando has taken the third spot away from Ellis Spice.
Yeah, great setup for Orlando there. Good run through the S's. Created a lot of speed down that little short chute. And was able to get that inside positioning into the bus stop.
These top four have done a nice job, especially when Grenon was in the mix there, navigating through some issues and have broken away from the rest of the field. Again, this draft is super powerful here, and I'm sure it will be at other tracks this season where we've got long straightaways. What's the first stage caution? That is very funny. I think the stage caution comes out here about lap 17, and we'll be back underway around this time next Sunday.
That's a long wait for a stage.
Long
oh!
red flag.
Nearly contact with the wall from Hayward there into the bus stop. It looked like sparks. I'm not sure it actually registered as damage on the sim or not. But awfully close to the inside wall there.
Certainly been using a lot of the curbs here. And with the large rear attenuator on these cars, I'm sure it probably doesn't like the curbs very much.
Reed has been all over the back of Hayward here for the last couple of laps.
And
Difficult
Hayward
to pass, trying to force a mistake.
Hayward on Thursday in a total field of 11 cars. Again, the field splits at 25, so we had 31 total registered. So 16 in this split, 15 in the second split. Only one split on Thursday. Olivia Hayward scored the pole, was battling for the lead with Ralph Zapelt, which I know I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. And then fell back to third in the closing laps after a spin and save. Qualified second here, and Hayward up to the lead after some misfortunes from Maxime Grenon. Grenon has climbed from 9th back up to the 8th position now, a couple of laps removed from the incident. Normally we like to go back through the field a little bit more, but it's hard to justify doing that when the top four are nose to tail here.
Yeah, I mean, these top two are chomping at the bit, or at least Reed's chomping at the bit to try to make something happen here. Still plenty of time left, 8 minutes coming up here as they cross the line.
I think one of my favorite details on this car, there are a lot of cool ones. If you go in Kickpot Cam, you can see the lights go with the steering inputs around the dash. But also on the front grille of this car is the number lit up in LED. So that's a very cool little detail there on this car that I really like.
And a lot of action through the bus stop as Orlando is a little bit wide there, had to take it through the grass. Still hangs on to the third position, does not upset that car.
Further back, we'll keep our eyes on it. Callie Bajent and Matt Johnson are in close proximity. Johnson's been doing a good job trying to track down Bajent for 5th.
This battle rages on here. This will be lap 12 up on the board. 7 minutes to go.
Here we go.
Here,
Reed to the inside, Reed to the race lead.
been trying to set that one up for a few laps now, is finally able to get that inside position into that tight turn one.
Hayward's not done. Right back to it. Already pulling up to the outside of Reed. Maybe just trying to arc the entry here into the bus stop.
Whoa! Reed a little bit sideways through the bus stop there.
And I don't know if this is a track-specific thing or not, but especially working your way in some of these heavy lateral load corners like the bus stops turns. The back end of this car is very slippy. So it gets nervous around this point in the race. Marlon Orlando now closing in on Hayward for second as Reed officially across the line is the leader for the first time today.
Yeah, it's crazy. The top four all still here together. Hayward is very good through the S's to try to get a run here. Pulls back to the outside again.
Likes this big wide arc here into the bus stop. But Reed taking the conventional line, pulls away by a car length or so. Headed into the carousel. Top four still nose to tail here. Bajent not making up any time here on the top four. And is also starting to pull away a little bit from Matt Johnson as well.
Orlando thought about trying to go to the inside. It gets blocked by Hayward. Hayward had to take a very shallow entry there into turn 6.
So Hayward has ditched Orlando for now, right back up to Reed. And I say for now, it'll change down the long straightaway here into the bus stop again. All 16 drivers that took the green flag are still running. Duncan Watts had problems a few laps into this race. He's running back in 16.
Orlando
wow.
sends it here into the bus stop.
That was a great entry for Orlando, but had to check up a little bit for Hayward.
Yeah, nearly contact with Hayward. Definitely had to get on the brakes a bit.
And you had mentioned the track limits. It's good to point out as you see those drivers go wide over that runoff section every time. No track limits and that section of the track. Track limits here, though. Don't want to put all four over that rumble strip. You'll pick up a 1X. Same into turn number 1 here.
And we're kickpot cam here with Marlon, and you can hear the tires hurting a little bit.
So, a little over 3 minutes left to go. That should give us about 3 laps. It'll hit zeros coming to lap 17. They should give us lap 17 for the checkers. But either way, Hayward fading from Reed, Orlando fading from Hayward.
A little bit farther back here. Quite a few good cars here together as well. Matthew Johnston, J.J. Wang, and Maxime Grenon all here together. Alec Bajan right in front of them as well. So a couple of four-car groups kind of all together here, but separated by about 3 seconds.
I'm sure Grenon is looking to storm back up through the field here after spinning out from the lead. J.J. Wang has done a nice job to track down Matt Johnson. But we'll have a fight on his hands before this race is over, one way or another, either on offense or defense.
Hayward still trying to reel Timothy Reed back in here. Thought about trying to look to the inside there, just couldn't quite get to the spot. Good bus stop there for both Reed and Hayward.
I think specifically with this car, the carousel is the hardest turn on the track. With this much power and that much weight, you're itching to get after it.
Yeah.
But if you get on it too early out of the carousel, you are pushing wide and making an impromptu trip to the boot.
Same thing here in turn 7 right before we get to the start-finish straight as well.
And that's just what bit Timothy Reed right there. A little bit too hard on it. It opens the door at least to the outside for Hayward to try and launch another bid.
Oh!
We'll try and cross over, but Orlando is there.
Yeah, and Reed did a great job. Knew that weren't going to really have the run there out of turn 7. Made a little mistake, so opted to take the inside line to keep that great position.
Oh!
Contact!
Contact! We're getting after it. Elbows out. Hayward back to the lead. Can they make it stick to the bus stop? Yes! What a move.
Pass. What a pass from Olivia Hayward. Unbelievable.
This is lap 17. There's still time left. We may have one more, but they're racing like it's the last lap. Well, I mean, they have been since the drop of the green anyway.
And this is the checker.
What a move for Olivia Hayward. The winning move through the bus stop. What a win. Timothy Reed in second, Marlon Orlando in third. Oh, and we're crashing. Oh, no. And that still counts for incident points, by the way. But, wow. Incredible. What a race. That's a great way to kick things off.
No kidding. I mean, just an absolute power move there from Olivia Hayward.
We'll have to go back and take a look at that pass before we get to our finishing order here. That's the nice thing is this race is only 20 minutes long. We get a little bit of extra time to play around.
Well, let's go ahead. I think Hayward is going to go all the way around the track. So let's go ahead and try to take a look here. This pass, we're going to back it up through the S's, and Hayward was just unbelievable through the S's all day long here. Gathering great runs down the backstretch into the bus stop, and was finally able to make it work here. A little bit of contact there with Reed out of the S's, and then just absolutely sends it into the bus stop and makes a pass on the outside into the right-hander. I mean, such an incredible move there.
And it's the winning one, and we're going to get some celebrations. Now the incident point counter is off, and wow, that was a shot. Burn it down. Why not? Podium finisher on Thursday, taking the win here tonight. and an even bigger field of drivers to contend with. Fantastic job by Olivia Hayward to take the victory tonight. Timothy Reed, so close, but will finish in second. Marlon Orlando then will round out the podium. We hope to talk to all three of these folks here momentarily. We'll have to see. We don't know who's in the Discord and who is. That's the thing about the official races. Anybody could crop up at any moment. So, Ella Spice, solid run again tonight. Will finish in fourth. Callie Bajan in fifth. Matt Johnson in sixth. JJ Wang in seventh. Maxime Grenon, good recovery after the spin, but will finish down in the eighth position. AJ Cawley in ninth, and Mickey Friesen in 10th. Ryan Phillips 11th. Tom Sanders in 12th. Georgie Shrepsick, I know that is wrong. I'm very sorry to anybody whose name I'm mispronouncing. But Georgie will finish in 13th. Jackie Matthews in 14th. Stephen Hassett in 15th. And Duncan Watts then will finish in the 16th position. Looking for the other split here. Doing my very, very best. And we'll put that on the back burner and take a look at it here momentarily. So Marlon Orlando is in the Discord or watching the broadcast. If you want to hop into the cool down room here, I guess that's where we're congregating. And Timothy Reed as well. Otherwise, we'll just go straight into our interview with our race winner, Olivia Hayward, who is standing by so patiently. I see Orlando has just hopped into the Discord server. So we'll give it a second here. We had a quick on, Matt. Anything you want to say to the folks who are watching here tonight?
Well, I mean, just shout out to anybody watching. It's a very new venture for us, a car that I don't think anybody really knows a whole lot about. So we are very, very happy to be able to showcase this car and the talents of the drivers that enjoy it here on Turn 200. Shout out to John Newt, Raceverse, and Callie Kills. I'm sure that's probably Callie Bajan there. For tuning in and watching, and anybody else that's watching that might be new to the channel, welcome. We're glad that you're here, and glad to be bringing you some Porsche Mission R Challenge coverage. We enjoyed this one very, very much. I mean, that was an incredible race, and can't wait for the rest of the season.
And there was certainly a lot to enjoy for for everybody. As we welcome in one driver, I think in particular, who really enjoyed the finish of that race, I would say Olivia Hayward is now joining us in booth 200. Welcome to the broadcast. Congrats on the victory here tonight. That was a stellar sequence of events there in the closing lap to get you back up top.
Thank you. I mean, that was so much fun. Obviously, I love this track a lot, and with being a draft track, it means that you have those kind of battles, and I was willing to be patient a little bit, try and save a bit of tire, I guess, and just sit in the draft, not invite P3 and on back into the battle. But the last 5 or 6 laps, I was trying to work out how to get around. Like I was struggling. Sometimes I was too close out of turn 1. Sometimes I'd get alongside, but the inside is just so much stronger. And then, yeah, I saw Tim slow through the final corner coming to the white flag. So he went defensive into 1. And yeah, like I caught quite early in the S's, but I made sure to back off just enough to stay on the bumper and kind of pinch a little bit coming out of the S's. And it gave me enough of an overlap that gave me the corner. And yeah, it's a really good move. It felt so good to me. And those last 30 seconds, I was just thinking, don't bottle it now. Don't bottle it now.
Absolutely. You mentioned at the draft track, and Matt and I are both new to this car. Can you relay to the viewers just how, I mean, they probably saw it, but just how powerful of a tool the draft is at a track like this?
Well, honestly, the draft is powerful in this car, but it's not as powerful as in, say, the Skippy or something. And the issue you have at Watkins Glen is that if the draft is enough to catch you going into the bus stop, it's very difficult to side by side through there. It's very useful for staying with a pack, and like if you are within like a second and a half, and you just run smooth, you're gonna catch up because you're pulled along across all the straights. But it is tricky to make that move because it's not quite enough to get you from behind someone's bumper to ahead of it. And maybe a track like Road America, I think you have more of a chance on a much longer straight. And I believe we're going there in a couple of weeks, so that was something to watch out for. But yeah, it's the straights are just long enough here to give you a chance, but to not make it easy, which I think is a really fun combination. It means you can't just swap drafts the whole time. You have to really set the move up.
Matt, what do you got for the race winner?
Congratulations. You talk about setting the move up. You were so fast through the S's the whole race here. Coming down to that final lap, you set it up in the S's, making that move on the outside. How scary is that going into that right-hander into the bus stop? Because, I mean, you had to send it so hard to make that pass work.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I was looking to my side. Just before we got to the breaking point, I could see that I was ahead, but there was definitely a nose there, and so I knew that there was a good chance Tim would commit to the apex and try and send it side by side. And so the only option I had was to try and brake late and shoot around and clear, and then turn in. It is, I guess, a bit fortunate because once you get to that first apex, it's very difficult for the trailing driver to do anything. So I can kind of park the middle of the bus stop and make it work. But yeah, it just requires confidence in yourself and confidence that the other car in the corner is gonna give you room and is gonna race you fair and create this entire field. They raced really well, and I think I'm glad we put on such a good show for the first broadcast because yeah, it was a lot of fun to race, and I hope it was much fun to watch.
I certainly think it was a lot of fun to watch here tonight, and I also am happy that we got to watch it. It was looking questionable there a couple of minutes before the stream started, but I'm glad we didn't miss this one. This was a fantastic battle all the way down to the line. Is there anybody you want to say hello to or shout out here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously shout out to the entire Mission R community. It's kind of I'm quite new here, but I have friends who run a lot of these niche cars, Mission R, Stock Car Brazil, like the Camel or Lotus, stuff like that. And it's really nice to see these smaller communities sort of rally around these slots and give the car some life. I want to especially shout out my friends Blowhigh United, Ergo, Georgie, Jackie, Ryan, and then other friends at Prismatic, sort of throwing a few more names into here to really set the field because I don't think any of us expected to split, and it's kind of crazy that we had such a huge turnout for the first race of the season. So yeah, and thank you for putting on the broadcast. It means a lot.
Oh, we're excited to be here for the entire season, and yes, excited that we got to split here tonight and 31 drivers participating. That's fantastic stuff, and a fantastic race here tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, broadcast-wise, interesting. Race-wise, very, very good. This is very promising here.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, of course, we didn't know quite what to expect coming into this. We hadn't ever watched, or at least I hadn't ever watched this car or a race of this car anyways. So, wow, just incredible stuff. Obviously means a lot to these drivers. To see moves like that being made here, unbelievable stuff. That was spectacular.
And we will get momentarily, actually, I think. I don't have the full results yet for the second split for the Porsche Mission R Challenge. Actually, JJ Wang just sent them. And we're going to interview the winner of our second split race. We didn't get to see it, but this is a driver that we've talked to before on the channel. In a day where there are a ton of new drivers and new names and horrible pronunciations going around, Your second split winner is Ben Carswell, who is a familiar name on the channel for the Daredevil series and things of the like. Welcome back to the booth, and good work on the win. Tell the viewers how you got it done here tonight.
JJ actually had me run a separate Mission R League earlier, probably a few months ago now. So I had a little bit of experience with the car and was excited to see it come back. So I did a little practice, got the pole, and just drove as fast as I could away from everybody.
Yeah, and looking on the results sheet that JJ sent over, 17 laps led, which is all of them. And looks like you won by 5 seconds as well. So good work here tonight. Is there anybody you want to shout out or say hello to here?
Yeah, shout out to JJ because I think he's made a real effort to help bring a lot of people into this series and get it going. Dario, who didn't make it tonight with the top split, but helps run the Mission R server and does a lot of good stuff. It's always nice to see cars like this that are really fun to drive and don't get as much participation as something like, GT3 or something. Get a dedicated community. So shout out to JJ for that, and shout out to Team Watson Racing for being a great community that can have people like JJ come in and get 5 or 6 people to come show up to a race on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, good work. Yeah, it's super exciting that we got a split here today. But nice job on the win, and hopefully we'll talk to you again here next week.
Hopefully.
Alrighty, so that was Ben Carswell. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and give you the full finish. We had 16 in this split, 15 in the other split. Ben Carswell with the win, leads every single lap, wins by 5 seconds over Leah Noodle, I believe. John Schneibel will round out the podium there. Sergey Fedotov is a name you'll be hearing a lot, I do believe. He finishes in 4th. TJ Crampton, who I was hoping to see in the top split tonight, but he will finish 5th in the bottom split. Kevin Merck then will finish in 6th. Quentin Stewart in 7th. Ramon Deventer in 8th. Scott Outram in 9th. And Carson Neal in 10th. David Rothmuller in 11th. Derek Reigel in 12th. Barry Morton. Neil Chakravarty. Oh, man. I apologize to you, Neil. But he finished in 14th. And Paul Elliott, I think at DNS in 15th. That's going to be pretty close to a wrap here on our first ever official broadcast. Some things to smooth out for next week, but man, it's off to a promising start here. This was fantastic stuff tonight. Anything else you want to say to close out?
Once again, a shout out to everybody that's watching, and excited to bring some coverage of this car to YouTube here on the Turn 200 channel. Appreciate all the drivers that came out. I know we were kind of wondering if we would get enough for a split or not, and I think we ended up having maybe 31 or 32 drivers. So, yeah, that's incredible to have that many drivers and get a split here for the Porsche Mission R Challenge. So, shout out to all the drivers that came out, and hoping to talk to more of you and learn a little bit more about you as we go along here.
Absolutely. Next week for here, the Porsche Mission R Challenge, we'll be at Alton Park. So that'll be an exciting week to race between now and then. Tomorrow night for Truck 200, we are at North Wilkesboro. We are off on Tuesdays for the next month or so. Wednesday night, we are back in action. Back in action on Wednesday nights, but it is the first ever appearance of the ASRL Southern Shores Realty Sports Car Championship GT3, GT4 multi-class racing, making its debut here on Turn 200 on Wednesday night. That is at the Red Bull Ring. That'll be fantastic. And then Thursday night, Maximum Velocity Racing League will be back in action. They are, of course, at Nashville Super Speedway. So a lot of exciting action here in the next 7 days on Turn 200. If you're new here, you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, be sure to hit subscribe and like on the stream on your way out here tonight. And we'll hope to see you back here sometime in the next week. If not before next week's race at Alton Park for week number 2, season number 4 of 2023. Our first ever official broadcast is in the books here, race fans. And we thank you all very much for coming out here tonight. For the GOAT, Mr. Matt Williamson. For everybody at, I guess, the developing team at iRacing, I'm Tommy Cook. Until we meet again, we say so long from Watkins, Glen, where Olivia Hayward takes the Week 1 victory.